In a surprising turn of events, it's actually Jakob Ingebrigtsen that the question looms, will he ever make a return to the running scene? Nike and former coach Alberto Salazar have settled the... What's happening, runners, and welcome to the first ever edition of This Week in Athletics. I'm Lloyd, your host for today's episode, and we are going to dive into the exhilarating world of competitive running. Now, we've got a lot to cover, so let's lace up the shoes and hit the ground running. We're going to kick things off with the Liverpool Cross country results from Sefton Park, which was last weekend. They bring excitement and anticipation for the upcoming European Cross Country Champs in Brussels in Belgium next weekend. In the men's short course relay race, we saw top performances from Josh Lay taking the win in the men's race in a time of 4 minutes and 28 seconds. Second place was rewarded to Adam Fogg after he passed Tom Dodd in the last couple of metres, and Alex Malloy took bronze. In the women's race, it was Bethan Morley from Leeds City AC who stole the show and took the gold medal, and she secured her first ever call-up to the Great Britain team. She'll be joined on the plane by 800-metre specialist Kahisa Malanga, who finished second on the day, just ahead of Belgrave Harriers' Kate Axford. The senior women's race was a fierce contest with Megan Keefe storming away from the field to win by one of the largest margins we've ever seen in the race. It was a close race behind her, with Abby Donnelly and Izzy Fry battling it out to round off the podium. In the men's race, it was Hugo Milner, now a full-time triathlete, who took an impressive win in a time of 28 minutes and 38 seconds for 9.8 kilometres. In a surprising turn of events, it's actually Jakob Ingebrigtsen that will not be racing next weekend in the European Cross Country Championships. This marks the end of his 7-year streak of title-winning performances at the meet. Jakob set 2 world records this year, and he's prioritising recovery and training for the upcoming year due to an undisclosed injury seemingly involving his sacrum. Switching gears, let's discuss an update on T44 Paralympian Oscar Pistorius. The 2008 champion in the 100, 200 and 400 metres and the 2012 400 metre champion is set to be released on parole on January the 5th next year. Pistorius was sentenced to 13 years and 5 months in prison for the shooting of his girlfriend, Riva Steenkamp. The question looms, will he ever make a return to the running scene? In a significant development, Nike and former coach Alberto Salazar have settled the $20 million lawsuit filed by distance runner Mary Cain. The lawsuit alleged emotional and physical abuse at the hands of coach Salazar and also an oversight by sponsor Nike. The terms of the settlement have not been disclosed, and all parties involved have not released statements at this time. Mary Cain was once a running prodigy out of Bronxville, and she represented the USA at the World Championships in 2013. She then signed a deal with Nike and joined the professional group Oregon Project, led by coach Salazar. However, 6 years later, in 2019, the New York Times featured a video where Cain detailed her decline. She explained that it was due to the emotional and physical abuse that she endured from Salazar and the Oregon Project coaching staff. This lawsuit, which was filed on October the 11th, 2021, has now concluded. Shifting focus to marathons, the Sydney Marathon has achieved a significant milestone by passing the first stage assessment to join the Abbott World Marathon Major Series. The 6-star medal for completing all of the 6 current races will continue as normal. Looking ahead to this weekend's Valencia Marathon, we are eager to witness the marathon debut of renowned Ugandan athlete Joshua Cheptegei. Holder of world records in the 5,000 and 10,000 metres, Cheptegei has a remarkable track record in Valencia. He set a world 10-kilometre road record in 2019 and a world 10,000 metre record in 2020 on the track. Despite his stellar career on the track, Cheptegei approaches the marathon with a focus on learning rather than pursuing just fast times. Cheptegei faces formidable rivals, including the legendary Kenenisa Bekele and a strong contingent of Ethiopian athletes. Now, the women's race was due to feature elite athletes like Teske Hagamuchu, but unfortunately, she's been done for doping, so she won't be there. But you can expect to see Almaz Ayana toe the line. Beyond the competitive field, the Valencia Marathon serves as a pivotal event for athletes seeking qualification for the Paris 2024 Olympics. Notable British participants, including Lily Partridge and Phil Sessman, are eyeing personal bests in the race and will be chasing those Olympic qualifying marks. The event will be broadcast live on the BBC Red Button for all of our viewers in the United Kingdom. Before we wrap up this week's highlights, please do make sure to check out the latest episode of the Trackster podcast. We caught up with Puma professional and 224 marathon runner Rose Harvey. Here's a small clip of the conversation, and you can now find the full episode on all of your major platforms.
I think that gap, as I was saying earlier, like that transition before you get a contract is so difficult, and slightly ironically, I think that's also where there's no funding, because you need to be like medal potential in the Olympics to get that funding. So those people who are on that program are likely to have the biggest contracts as well. So it kind of, and you know that probably for them the funding is actually like a drop in the ocean considering what their sponsors will pay. So I think the funding structure, there is such a gap in it, and it's such a hard time, and I just don't know how people make that transition unless they've got like family support or come from the corporate world and can kind of weather a bit of a dip in pay for a while.
So that's a wrap on this edition of This Week in Athletics. If you've enjoyed the show, please do make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and ring the notification bell for more running updates. Lace up those shoes and hit the pavement until we meet again, and I'll catch you next week.